How long does it take to learn a handstand? Well, for me, it took about just 30 days to get my first handstand hold. But I will say my technique was very trash. I didn't even have the correct body positioning, and it was just for a few seconds. So after a few months of refining my technique and just getting more practice over time, I was actually able to hold a consistent about 5 to 10 second handstand over the course of 3 months. Now, I did have slightly better technique, but I will say the real growth was that I was able to do it, more consistently on a set-to-set basis. Now, fast forward to a few years, right? Now I'm able to do weighted handstand push-ups and even can hold about a 30 to 40 second handstand on demand, right? I can do this easy, in my sleep to this point, right? So in this video, I'm gonna be explaining and showing you everything you need to know about perfecting your own handstand journey. Now, in order to perfect the handstand, I'm gonna break down this video in 3 vital requirements. First is increasing our bent arm strength, meaning utilizing exercises like the push-ups to improve your general pushing strength. Now, depending on where your strength currently lies, the starting point will vary. So choose the progression that best suits your current level, which leads up to the first exercise is to focus on the standard push-ups, ideally being able to do up to 20 to 30 push-ups in a row for about 3 to 4 sets will be a good base. Second, to specifically help increase your shoulder strength directly to the handstand is to focus on doing the pike push-ups. Ideally, you want to be able to do about 8 to 10 reps on the pike push-ups for 3 to 4 sets because having the necessary bent arm strength is so required just so you can even hold your body in the upside down position, okay? This means developing the necessary strength in our muscle groups such as the shoulders, triceps, and even the upper chest. These are gonna be muscle groups that essentially will help aid in holding our handstand with ease, right, over time. Then our second requirement to learning the handstand is to increase our straight arm strength. Essentially, this is gonna be the same muscle groups mentioned for our bent arm strength. However, joint strength and conditioning will play a vital role in holding the handstand position for an extended period of time without occurring any kind of discomfort in our joints. Specifically, this means we need to condition our shoulder, elbow, and also wrist joints. This is because within the handstand position, our bodies are engaging in wrist extension, elbow extension, and finally shoulder flexion. That said, having a strong pike hold, elevated pike hold, or even wall handstand hold are going to be like the bread and butter for learning and improving our straight arm strength. This is going to allow us down the road to hold the handstand with confidence and with the correct body positioning. So depending on where your strength level lies, you want to hold each of these progressional exercises for up to 20 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds before moving on to the next progression. So I believe whenever I first started, I had a great base because I was just doing a lot of push-ups. So I didn't really take too much time on the pike holds, but don't get me wrong, I still, practice it just for the purpose of learning the technique and understanding how to be in a pike position and compress my body, because the technique is gonna essentially carry on over to the later progression exercises like the elevated pike holds, the wall handstand holds, and of course the freestanding handstand. So if anything, like I said, I just took 2 to 3 weeks to just focus on the pike holds and immediately jumped on to the elevated pike holds. So the way you start will probably vary. You might even not need to do the pike holds at all, right? If you already did it before, I don't know, but anyways, let me not go off on a tangent. This then leads on to the next point of this video. In order to master the handstand, we got to focus on the balance component. But more importantly, we want to be able to understand which progressional exercises we need to actually work on to aid us in efficiently mastering our own handstands, right? That said, I want you to lock in on these 3 straight arm isometric holds. That's going to be the pike hold, the elevated pike hold, and also the wall handstand hold. So here's the technique for each of these progressional exercises. For the pike hold, we need to make sure we're on our toes, hips are held high, and the most important part, keep your wrists, elbows, and shoulders stacked on top of each other. This will help you learn how to keep a straighter body position for the handstand. Now, similar to that, it's going to be the elevated pike holds, where you're just increasing the leverage to manipulate the intensity placed on the shoulders by elevating your feet higher. Then to our third isometric hold, we want to focus on training with the wall. Now this can be done with the back facing the wall or chest facing the wall. Personally, I find the chest facing the wall handstand holds translates better to the actual freestanding handstand. So walk your feet up against the wall and maintain a close distance between your chest and the wall for a straight alignment. Then some further technical cues include activating the right muscles by pressing through with your palms, fully extending your elbows. And I also notice if you flex your traps and lats by engaging in scapular depression, what this does is essentially lock in your torso in place and helps you feel a bit more secure than if you're not flexing your lats or trap muscles. Now moving on to our core, we want to drive your hips forward and engage your abs. Almost think about crunching your abs while you're in the upside down position, whether it's the pike or handstand progression on the wall. And then finally, you want to make sure you flex your quads to help tighten the rest of your body, because if you don't know, the handstands is a full body movement that requires total body control. Okay, so I've spoke about how to increase your strength, how to get the correct body positioning for the handstand, but then there's a big missing component for mastering the handstand, which is the balance. Now, I will say this is probably be the hardest part, at least it was for me, so I won't speak for everybody, but if you don't get the balancing part of the handstand, you're not gonna be able to hold it without the wall. So I'm gonna say this so I can throw it out there. Be wary of the balancing component, because this might take the most time to just fully understand and adapt, right? But at the end of the day, repetition is going to be your best friend, okay? If you're not practicing the handstand at least 3 to 4 times per week, the chances of you improving and just overall mastering your handstand is going to take that much longer. This way, you'll be getting enough practice over the course of the week by having a 4 times training frequency. And I will say this, practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes progress. So that's your free game of the day right there, like no cap. That said, I'm gonna be providing you an example week of specifically training the handstands within your sessions. So we want to evenly distribute the intensity and our purpose of training the handstands throughout the week. 2 days focusing on building general strength for holding the handstand, and then the other 2 days focusing on holding in our technique and balance. For example, for your strength building days, depending on your current level, you want to hold a handstand progression for up to 20 seconds, and this will be considered your static based training. In a practical sense, this can be doing the pike holds or wall handstand holds. Then on your balance and technique based days, you want to choose a progression where you can get into the handstand position and attempt to hold yourself. This can be done by utilizing the alternating toe touches by slowly shifting your toes away from the wall to introduce balance and essentially mimic that handstand hold in terms of all the technical cues needed. Or if those gets too easy, go for handstand attempts without the wall to really put in your technique into play. But I recommend being close to the wall for extra support in case you overkick or need that slight assistance to increase your hold times. So ideally, if you split up your training and have a more purposeful approach by 2 days, it being more so on building general strength for holding the handstand, and then the other 2 days focusing on more the technique and balancing component, then you're definitely gonna be on your way to mastering your handstand the same way as me, and maybe even at a faster rate too, because now I'm giving you a game from a more seasoned person, and this is something I would do as a beginner getting right into it. It's more specific and more structured in a way. But remember this, the handstand is a very tricky skill to get down because of that balancing component, which can be very new to a lot of people, as it was for me. So if you're not practicing it enough, getting enough repetitions over the course of the week, you're just not gonna be able to adapt in order to hold yourself in the upside down position. But hey, what do I know? If you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow me, man. I'm the Tough Fitness Scout here, no cap.
Cobra Trains, he's up next. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. He's number one out here.
He's the toughest fitness guy out here.